Batman Curse of the White Knight issue 6. So that's just obviously Sean Murphy doing everything, more or less.
Except colors.
Except colours.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes, that's fine.
I love this book.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
This.
Some things are reliable.
Yeah. Man, there's the part with Harley, Batman coming. My only problem. I'm gonna start with the negative, because everything else I loved. I would have liked to seen the attack on the Strike Force, that left them like this instead of just focusing on Batman.
Hands off page, yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
So,
it's more we're focusing on Batman here, so
Yeah.
we follow that side of things.
Yeah, and so I just would have liked to seen it. That's all.
It gets away with it, I think, because the book starts with another attack that they already had on, the Arkham when they're breaking out Joker. We see all the dead bodies and we see the reactions to that. So I think because we've already seen one, we have enough to kind of imagine what this one is like.
Yeah, but when
Probably similar.
but they took out one of Bane. Bane got taken out in the last issue.
Yeah.
One of Azrael's teammates off panel. So I mean, that would have been nice to see them take her out, see what the Strike Force can actually do, right, to stick up for themselves. I will say, Murphy's Joker made me laugh a couple times in this. Be careful with the gun; it's an antique, or it's one of a kind, or a classic. I forget exactly what he says. I thought that was legit funny, because it's the long barrel pistol.
Yeah.
And it ends up becoming a major factor later.
Jason Blood gives a lot more history on everything. But not all of it, of course, because then Joker reveals even more at the end.
Yeah, so I'm reading this and going, that's Jason Blood. He's up the hair thing. And then we get to there, and I'm reading it this morning, because I saved this for last, and I go, I effing knew it.
Do you know what I find really interesting? Because I was the same. I was like, it's the hair thing.
Yeah.
He's a priest.
Yeah.
He's got the collar.
Right. So I'm looking and I'm thinking, I was like, that's not Jason Blood, because he's a priest. And then he's like, oh, so Batman goes and talks with this priest in the Order of Saint Dumas, and he talks about how he knew Azrael as a child. He knew Jean Paul, and that I was getting shades of Anakin Skywalker about how he was an angry kid. Right?
Sure, yeah.
But we thought we could channel this, and so Batman's like, so you sent him to war? He's like, yeah, it turns out that made things worse. And then I'm like, how old is this guy? Right? Because if he knew, like, Jean Paul's older, like, we see him, that's what, he's dying of cancer. He's an older man when we first see him. And then I see the hair, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Jason Blood.
Son of a bitch.
And then I went, wait a minute, I effing knew it. My wife goes, what did you know? And I was like, it's this character. Don't worry about it. It's just like, yeah, I know. I kind of figured before I asked. All right. And then they show him with the page. He goes, hey, I'm Jason Blood. I know a thing about curses. And it's a picture of him next to Etrigan. And I was like,
it's the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his reflection. It's just one of those.
Is Etrigan.
Yeah.
So,
and I was like, oh, man. This is what I want in Elseworlds, where it ties, like, we start in Gotham, but there's the larger world, right? And in this world, Jason Blood ended up becoming a priest in the Order of Saint Dumas, because he's, for whatever reason, like
probably because he, feels constrained by Etrigan and feels like he has to work it off in the opposite direction in some way.
Yeah. So we have the attack that happens off page on the crime unit. The Harley's kids get kidnapped by Joker in that. So Batman's riding off. Harley insists on coming with. He's like, all right, sit up then, and gives her some, not the classic Harley Quinn outfit in full,
but a Harley Quinn outfit. Yeah.
So they go to the castle, and they're going in, and we get a lot of stuff. I mean, Joker has the two kids strapped to his chest. Is it almost as if he's wearing like a bomb vest, but it's just two kids. There was something wonderful about that. Now, I've not been really the thing I've not liked about White Knight is the whole Joker Jack Napier personality thing. I'm not a big fan of that, and they really play into it here, where he's like switching back and forth, and it's
he's Two-Face-esque.
Yeah.
On the bright side, do I have to worry about it too much longer?
Well, no, because we get the because eventually he's like, you don't have the balls to shoot me, essentially, and she just shoots him right in the face.
Yep. And then we find out too that what the curse here is that when Bakar, who was sent from the Order, came to Gotham to clean it up, it turns out that no, that's not what he did. He was kicked out of the Order, and he finds his way to Gotham and teams up with Edmund Wayne, and they create that cycle of crime and violence by essentially creating the first Gotham mob, right? Like all the crime
team up with all the pirates and
he corrupts Edmund Wayne, and then the big twist of the issue is that it wasn't Bacard that went down and died in the well. It was actually Edmund Wayne, and Bacard took and pretended to be Wayne. So the twist here is that Batman's actually a descendant of Bacard and not Wayne. It's actually Azrael who's a descendant of the Waynes, and the Wayne name's a lie.
You get the idea that this is going to come down to at the end of, well, it doesn't really matter who his ancestor was. He's a Wayne now, and that's what counts. And he's Batman, right?
Well, and it's who the Waynes became later. It wasn't who they were.
Yeah.
And that's what the ultimate joke for Joker was that, Gotham's greatest defender and protector is started by its first criminals, as a descendant of that. And yeah. Oh man. I'm hoping the project he's working on now is a story set during that time.
Well, I can tell you because he did another Q&A on Twitter in the last couple of weeks. And he said, stay tuned for a Harley spin-off book announcement.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get something at least more.
The other thing I like here is Harley's relationship with Bruce, in that she goes, I'm going to do this because I trust you, and it better not blow up on me, because, I've known you long enough to know, and then it does blow up and it loses her kids. And then she's like, no, I don't care if I'm bleeding and my ribs are broken. I'm going back and getting my kids. So again, between Murphy and Harleen and some of these other stuff, I'm really starting to get a fondness for a certain version of Harley.
And it ends with him holding her as Joker's dead body's lying in the foreground, and that's the end of the issue.
Yeah.
So again, because it is this Elseworlds, it gets to kill off characters willy-nilly. We've had Gordon's death, we've had Bane's death, now we've had Joker's death. We can do that in this book. So.
Do you know what? Speaking of those deaths, there was another fun question that was asked, because it was asked about Ivy. And he goes, I killed off a lot of characters, most of the villains last issue, and I specifically didn't kill Ivy, not because I want to do anything with Ivy, just because I don't want all you people on the internet coming after me. Because he knows what it's like. And I'm just not going there.
He knows what he knows what he would do. All right, just Murphy, don't make me. I'm gonna put my Twitter fingers down. All right.
Yeah. I hope it was like a little post-credit scene in the last issue. It's just Ivy dying in the most ridiculous way possible, just as an ending. Just so it's like, I don't have to talk to anyone anymore. It's done. It's over. Bye.
Yeah, but no, this is a world that I can keep coming back to every couple of years, and I'll be fine. Like even the Freeze one, which wasn't as good as the other stuff.
But it broadened the horizons.
I ended up talking to a person at the comic shop, and he ended up going back and picking up the original, and then whatever the issues were up to this at the same time. So because of how I was talking about it, so that's a win.
Well, I know he's calling it the Murphyverse and is expecting it to be around for a while, just basically as long as DC keep launching stuff. And given that it sells pretty damn well.
Yeah, it's popping out in the top 10 all the time. I think DC are more than happy for him to keep doing this.
Yeah. I would love for him to do a kind of a source book with like smaller stories with other characters, because what's his Superman like in this world, or his Green Arrow? How is his Green Arrow different from Bruce?
We might get there, given that we introduced Jason Blood in this one, which I did not see coming. It's totally outside the realms of what we can do with it.
Has any of this so far actually even referenced a Superman or anything like that? Or Justice League? Maybe they just don't exist. Maybe it's just those characters aren't here.
But until Jason Blood was popped up in this one, I'd have said they probably don't. But now I'm like, maybe some form does or will. Maybe they don't yet.
Yeah. Or what's Wonder Woman like in this one?
Yeah, I can see playing with maybe Wonder Woman hasn't left her mascara for yet for whatever reason, but she does.
Right. So whatever it is, I'm here for it. Like this issue, that turn where it turns out he's actually a descendant of Bacard and not Edmund Wayne. Despite Edmund Wayne looking an awful lot like Bruce. I feel so there's a panel that's got Edmund Wayne with that redheaded girl. And so I'm almost wondering too if this is just a part of the Joker's overall joke, right? Is that he's not that he's necessarily lying, but
he is a Wayne after all.
he is Owain after all, and that Edmund did, but it still stands, right? Like,
yeah, I think that's worth noting as we're taking this at face value as fact.
Yep.
But this is the Joker telling him the story. Just because the Joker is saying it and maybe believes it does not necessarily make it the truth.
Yeah. So I'm just, I can't say enough good things.
Yeah. I don't know if I wanted to swerve back the way now. I feel like we've had enough swerving with the story, but I mean, if they swerve it again, whatever.
And I want more Battylevania. That's all.
Arkhamvania, man. That's what we call it.
He was referring to as Castlevania.
Castlevania. There you go. It sounds like Dracula saying it. Castlevania.
That's probably why I went with it, because he's smarter than us, clearly.
Yes.
What are you rating this, Matt?
I'm giving this one a 9. I love this issue.
Got it?
8.5.
Straight 8 for me. Still solid. Still good.